Welcome back to the channel. Coming up in this episode, highlights from around the verse with Sandy Gardner and Chris Smith, featuring highlights from the LA studio update with Eric Kieran Davis. Plus, also this week in Around the Verse, there was a special feature on derelict ships. And if you're an RSI subscriber, this month's subscriber flare is part of the Vivid Display series, Port Olisar. All this and more coming up in this episode, but first let's go to the highlights from the LA studio update with Eric Kieran Davis. Now, first of all, Eric told us that they've actually reached their pre-Evocati milestone. Now, obviously this is an internal thing, and basically they're able to review the game as it is now, and well, they're pleased at the progress being made so far. Now, work is ongoing on something called the Persistence Data Manager, and this established physical and legal ownerships, and this is a core requirement, obviously, to check whether you're a criminal or basically what you're up to in the game. Now, this also applies to actual tracking and management. For example, they showed a Knox parking in the back of the Cutlass, and basically this all ties in with persistence, so you'll be able to park your Knox in the back of your ship and basically go off somewhere else, go to bed, and when you come back your Knox will still be in the back of your Cutlass. Now, Eric also showed us some of the features they're working on for cargo. Now, basically you'll be able to place your cargo into your ship, into the cargo grid, and basically they've got systems which obviously dynamically track your cargo, and they've actually tied this in with something called the Solar System Shopping Service, which dynamically can keep track of the cargo you've bought, and obviously enables you to actually sell it as well. Eric showed us the new Gravlev system, which is being used by ships like the Knox for well, getting around the planet's surface. Now, Eric told us that the old system had a lot of problems, but this new system seems to be working very well. Now, it looks like Miles Eckhart will have realistic liquid in his glass, as they've been working on some dynamic fluid simulations. So that will keep Miles Eckhart very happy indeed. But obviously this will work with other liquids, water, which will be in the game in the future. Now, Eric showed us that they've been actually working on landing gear for the ships. Now, with 3.0 and beyond, all the ships will have this very flexible and very nicely sprung landing gear. So no longer will you have to land like a brick, which to be honest I often do. So this looks very nice. Nice spring there on this Aurora. Now, QA in LA are continuing to test systems for 3.0, including the new enhanced quantum travel system, the Moby Glass, and also testing the mission system for 3.0. Now, Eric also showed us that work is being done on the Anvil Hurricane. Now, this is in the white box stage, so obviously it will be a while yet before this ship is in game, but this early white box works does help them to actually test things like the animations. Obviously they start to work out the HUD displays, and also some early versions of the damage model as well. So yeah, this ship looks very nice. Must admit I didn't actually get this one, but obviously may well upgrade to it, or maybe earn it in game in the future. Now Eric showed us a number of costumes they're working on for characters, including a bridge officer, also a combat pilot for the Shubin mining station, and also a combat pilot for the Outlaws as well. So nice outlaw character suit there. And also they've been working on medical corpsmen, so obviously you'll see a lot of medics running around in the verse in the future, and also some civilians to populate the Levski landing zone. We also saw some work being done for tattoos, so looks like you'll be able to have tattoos in the verse. Now we also saw a concept for the shipjacker, and this guy looks well, pretty frightening. I certainly don't want to come across him. Now also they've been working on some effects for, well, if you get shot, so basically you get some bullet holes in your suit. And they've also been working on the Mobi-Glass. Obviously the Mobi-Glass has got to be a physical object which will be attached to your wrist over your suit, so obviously this will be obviously something they've got to get into the game, as the Mobi-Glass is an essential piece of equipment which, well, will feature very prominently indeed. Now that was really interesting to see the work they're doing on well, fluids for glasses, and obviously it's not just for Miles Eckhart's benefit. This will probably roll over into how they actually design liquid flowing on surfaces of these procedurally generated worlds. So maybe in the future we'll see large lakes and seas on some of these planets and moons. But of course that's probably a fair way off. Well, at least for now, Miles Eckhart will be happy with what he's got in his glass. Cheers. That's not bad actually. Now the real exciting part of Around the Verse this week was a special feature on derelict ships. Now we've seen derelict ships that will feature in 3.0 before, but Nathan Dearsley and the other developers actually talked us through how they went about getting the derelict ships into the moons for 3.0, and also how they placed them on the surface. Now obviously there's going to be a variety of derelict ships. We're going to have the Starfarer, Caterpillar, Constellation and Freelancer. Now how they chose the locations, Nathan Dearsley actually told us that these moons are so vast it would take a game developer, well, literally ages to actually choose a great location. But fortunately they can actually warp around the surface of the moons in the editor to choose some good locations. And of course the locations will actually differ due to the actual time of day settings in the game. So when you approach, say, a wrecked well, Freelancer or Constellation, it's likely to look very different at night to what it does in the day. Now as for AI at these derelict ships, not sure if we're going to get them in 3.0, because I think they did have a few issues at getting the AI to work on the surfaces of planets, but of course all that will come maybe at a later date. But for now there's going to be a lot of gameplay involved in just finding these derelict ships. There's probably going to be a few missions involved with them as well. Probably Miles Eckhart again. Well, that's going to be tremendously exciting to find these derelict ships. And at the end of Around the Verse, Nathan Dearsley did tease us that there was going to be some humongous derelict ship on, well, somewhere in the Stanton system on one of these moons. Now, where, we don't know, but he did say that it's actually visible when you fly over. So my guess is that it's going to be something very big indeed. Now they also did show a sort of like a special segment on people who forge a career in the verse actually finding these derelict ships, and that's well worth a watch.
Yeah, I guess you could say ships have always held kind of a power over me. I mean, growing up, I couldn't get enough of them. I'd hang out by the pads any chance I got and listen to the pilots swap stories. My dad used to tell me, you weren't born, you landed. But yeah, there was always something about them.
These aren't graveyards to me. No, they're a testament of life. Think about all the lives that touched this one ship before it got to this place. It's crazy, right? And there are a few things in this universe that have that kind of power.
To me, it always comes down to the people who flew it. The modifications that they made to make it theirs. I mean, we could find 10 Connie wrecks, and even though the layout's going to be the same, every single one of them is going to be different. There'll be some kind of lingering presence to connect you to the people who lived on it.
When I look at a ship, I see a person. Now, I know when people find these wrecks, all they see are mounds of scrap or a payday or whatever. But to me, maybe it was just growing up on a dusty rock, but a ship was freedom. It was limitless possibility.
Well, that's just some of the news from Star Citizen this week. Well, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to like, and it will help the channel and give me great encouragement to carry on doing these videos if you'd consider subscribing. So until next time, wherever you're watching out in that big universe, you take care. And hopefully I'll see you all sometime soon. Bye for now. Cheers. I think I've had too much of this.